All right, guys, this is hopefully starting right away. I've had some interesting times with the lag on the YouTube stream. So, hot cocoa, here we come. All right, guys, I hope that this is coming across okay. Welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie, and we are going to be working on this fun cup of cocoa. Yes, something got on my paper, over the month that it's been sitting there waiting to be painted. That happens. And I'll show you how you can recover from things like that because, life happens, stuff gets spilled on our desks, things get flung to the side, and marks get put on our paper unintended. Yeah. Good morning and welcome, guys. I'm so excited. This is day 29 of the 31 days of December 2020. I will be doing probably a live tomorrow evening after I do the live tomorrow morning or tomorrow at noon. On the 30th, there's probably going to be 2 live streams. There's going to be one at noon and probably one at 6 p.m. my time, Pacific time. So that would be really quite late for the UK people. It would be early in the day for my Australian friends. So, hey, you get somebody at the right time. Whenever I go, there'll be somebody at the right time. Let's get started here. I am excited because I'm going to try and do this fun sort of windows with light coming through the window, sort of a soft blue light, and maybe those little lights as the actual background for this. And then, I've got another picture here for the marshmallows and how to color the marshmallows. So we've got that one there also. We've got all kinds of things. There's a peppermint stick. There's chocolate dripping all over. It's going to be fun, and I am excited. So let's go back to turn that one off. We're going to get started here. And to start off with, I'm pretty much, the top half of this is all going to be put in with a soft blue. I am grabbing just a paper napkin. Hello everybody. Darcy and Kristen and Gail and Shauna and Linda and so many people. Thank you so much for coming in. I am just taking some relatively clean water. I say relatively clean. I don't always change my water between shows, and I don't have any animals that I have to worry about, so since I don't have to worry about animals coming in and drinking the water, just zoom in on that. There we go. I almost forgot to start my top-down camera. So let me start that really quick. Sometimes the universe works out for you and reminds you of things that you need to do. So there we go. I'm getting the background wet. I'm going to make it soft blue, dry it, and then we'll start working the window frames in. Because I figure that's easier. Why not go easier, right? We're going to go with that gray blue that I like to make. So it's the Prussian blue and I'm using a bit of the sepia this time. Just sort of boom. See how quickly that just graded out? There's enough of the orangey red color in it, or orangey color in it, to make it go more neutral. So now, but I wanted a little bit more blue. Ooh, let's see if we can water that down enough, eh? So I'm going to go ahead and just put that color on, and we're just working right over the background and everything inside. This is going to end up being a round ball, glass ball with the cup inside of it. It's one of those fun things. Yesterday's turned out so cool. If you haven't seen the icy window, check it out. I just realized that I didn't go and put my my links on yesterday's video. So I need to do that to this video and to yesterday's video. The links for all of the, ooh, that was a water soluble drop, a dirty spot. It's all gone. Yay. And now I am going to go in and sort of inside the cup, I'm going to go like this. And up here on the wall, I'm going to go and kind of dab out a bit of where I'm going to make this window. Now the window is not going to be exactly the same as there we go. The window's not going to be exactly the same as the photograph. Really what I wanted to do, I think, instead, was dab out the frame between the windows. There we go. That's what I was trying to come up with. See, and I'm not being particularly perfect with it. But now we've dabbed out the frame between the windows. Pretty cool. I think I am going to bring this blue down just a little bit. I'm not going to put it inside the ball at that point right there. I'm going to, actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that this is hanging in front of the window. Ah, see? Can change our minds. We can make things work out the way we want it. I'm going to go like this, but I'm still saying that there's like a tabletop inside the glass ball. And then I'm going to go like this. So now we've kind of got that space where the cross pieces of the window are going to be. Kind of in, I'm going to say it's hanging kind of in this area here. See, I've got 4 little sections right here. And there's sort of a cross piece. I'm going to say the ornament's hanging somewhere around that area. Just, you can make it wherever you want it to be. Is that working for you? I think it's working for me. So now what I want to do is go ahead and take the tea bag out of my cup of tea because it's been steeping long enough. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and dry this. I'm not worried about these edges being rough. We're going to be covering over with some darker colors and lighter colors. And that's why I wanted it to be lightened up some, but then not as light. We can have the edges rough because we're going to go over it in detail. So what colors did I mix? To get this soft blue-gray, I used a Prussian blue. I'm saying this is Prussian blue. It is this color blue. So it's kind of that indigo denim Prussian blue type of color. And then I took some of this kind of it's sort of a burnt umber type of color, but with just a touch more of the brown to it. But it's sort of a cool brown. And I mixed those 2 colors together to get this soft gray blue. I hope that helps. I love that you are in here, Miss Amy, and that you are welcoming people. Thank you so much. I am going to go ahead now and with that sort of sepia brown, since we've already used it in the painting, we can go ahead and use it some more. I'm going to say that this edge of the window is a little bit darker. I'm working it in, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to say that it's right here. I'm using the straight edge of this brush to give me a fairly straight edge to the window frame. And I am going to rotate and come in at the bottom of that. I'm going to go ahead and come in across here, and I will dab that brown that's inside. Let's see, I just grabbed another paper towel. I'm going to dab that that's on the inside of the ball so it's not as strong. And I'll come back and do that. Actually, I can do that right now. Right up to the peppermint stick and right below the peppermint stick. Just get the window frame built in. And it doesn't have to match perfectly. It can be a little bit narrower on the inside because it's kind of compressing the view. I like that. We will dab this on the inside. I am having so much fun making these, putting these balls kind of into a scene. Wow, that really went crooked, didn't it? That one going across there. We're going to straighten that one up a little bit. Because we can. I just picked up some of that sepia that I had on my board here. If you're new here, this piece of plastic that I'm working on is a piece of Coroplast. It is a corrugated plastic board, and it is just like cardboard, but it's made out of plastic. And so I can put my paper down here on it, and I can, there, I need to soften that up. I can put my paper on it, and I can get these lovely, get my lovely nice white margin lines because I can tape right down onto it. I can also use it as my palette, my mixing palette area. Yeah, I want that to come over a little bit more. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be inside. And I want to soften that up. See, I'm making this up as I go along. I have not done a test. You guys get to see my experimenting. And it's fun to do that. It's fun to experiment. And truthfully, I have a blast experimenting right in front of you guys. So, you know, we just have a good time here. You love knitting socks? I love knitting socks. I have actually knitted 3 pairs of socks this season. 1 pair of fingerless mitts and a knit cap that matches the mitts. So, yeah, you can't do, I can't paint all the time. I have to do other things too. And sometimes you have to be selfish and do something for yourself. And so the socks are all mine. I did do knitted socks one year for all of my family. That was an adventure. Trying to find out the right size to make them. Gotta make sure I get this one down here too. And this is gonna look rough right now, guys. It's okay. This can look rough. It's not the finished background yet. This is just the first layer in. So we can have some patchiness, we can have some rough stuff. It's okay. And remember also, I treat all of this as doodling. So I don't know what this is going to look like when it's finished. I'm hoping that it looks really cute. I'm hoping that you guys are happy with it. And if you like this video and like this type of video, make sure and click that like button. Subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified when new videos go up. Make sure and turn on your notifications so you can be notified when new videos go up. And click that like button. Yeah. So now I am looking at this and going, What do I see here? I actually see a bit of a yellow ochre, a little bit warmer color in this. So I'm going to warm this up a little bit. I don't want it to feel quite so cold, but I'm not going to put the warmer color, I think, on the inside. I think I'm just going to put it on the outside. What I mean by the outside, the inside is what's inside the ball. The outside is what's outside the ball. And so this is a yellow ochre type of color. And they do not put the color names on this palette. They just have numbers. So I am telling you the names that I think that they should be called on this palette. And if we were looking at this palette, it is C38. If you happen to have this palette, I'm using C38. And if you're interested in this palette, it's available on Amazon, and I have it in my art and watercolor tab. Make sure and shop around on Amazon. Once you get there, don't just go with the first link, because many times, there will be other sellers selling the exact same product for considerably less. The prices do fluctuate. I'm going to take some of that darker brown again. Just sort of put that in here. Bit of a shadow, maybe some detail lines. Just using the edge of that. This is a 1-inch Simply Simmons wash watercolor brush. And you know it's a watercolor brush. It's got the acrylic handle and it has this sloped end on it. You can actually use that end for marking your paper and pressing in so that you can end up with interesting, like if I wanted it to look like there was some moldings or something, I could actually impress scribe with the back end of the handle of the brush right into the paper, and the paint is going to settle down into that area. Make it look like this was a fancy molding or something. And then across here, make it match up. But if you go off your line, it will make a double line. And that's okay too. It's just more texture. And I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm not really pressing hard, but I am pressing hard enough that it impresses or imprints into the paper. There we go. Oh, see, I haven't done that one before. All right. Sorry, slurping my tea. It's like I am trying to start working on being more careful about making sure that I get enough to drink each day, and that because I've noticed I've been dehydrating a little bit. It's easy to dehydrate in the wintertime. You know, you're not doing as much activity. And let's see, I'm going to flip it over. It's way easier for me to pull the paint in towards the wet area than it is to draw down along the edge of it, especially since I'm using that flat edge of the brush. And thank you guys for your kindness to each other. It is so wonderful. I love how kind you are. And I'm grateful for my community. I am so grateful for you guys being here, caring for each other, caring about what I'm doing too. And I feel it. I feel you out there. I know that you're there. And I know that you guys sort of hold your breath sometimes when I'm doing some of these silly things that I try. And I'm actually going to just lightly go in So you're going to kind of in a sheer way see that those lines in the wood are showing up, but not too strong. Just in a very, very faded out. Look at that. Wow. Now the bottom edge of this side needs more darkness. So I'm going to put a little more dark coming up. And a little bit of the dark coming down on the top right here. Yeah, it's a cool technique. I don't do it very often because I can see it becoming one of those techniques that if I did it too often, it would become not as special. And now I'm just going to soften up so it looks like that shadow kind of blurs together on that raised up part. I don't want it to be quite so sharp. I want it to be faded out just a little bit. Oh, look at that. So now we've got the window. I want to get a little bit of that darker blue. I'm going to go ahead and sort of make some shadowy places on the glass. It might give us the feeling that we're looking through and we're seeing maybe there was some stuff across the street, or it's frosty and foggy outside, so we're just barely getting, you know, maybe there's a building or something, but I'm not really, it's very abstract in the background. This is an abstract window background. I don't want it to be too harsh, too strong. I think maybe right along this edge, I'm going to darken it up just a smidge, and maybe just a little bit through the glass. Maybe I'll go ahead and put a bit of that shadowy glass color right into the glass ball, so we can start building into that also. Make it feel like it's pushed back a little bit behind. And I need to turn off my come on, turn off on my, there it is, airplane mode. Now my iPad won't sit there and go tweedle tweet at me. Getting a little bit of that in there. It's going to be fun. I'm looking at this year has been tough for so many, and it has knocked the wind out of sails. Yes, definitely. I've had my moments too. I'm not Miss Mary Sunshine all the time. Nobody can be Miss Mary Sunshine all the time. Now I see on my cup there, kind of a extra bit of that blue. I think I'm going to work that back just a little bit, if I can. Just sort of scrub. Just lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, kind of start working my shadow. Not really see anything. It's just basically my paper is a little bit wet and my brush is a little bit dirty. All right, let's zoom that out so we can really see if we've got enough. Let's zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom out. That's looking good. I think I need a little bit more dark right here on this edge. I'm just a bit. not really going to say too much about it right there. Just getting it a little bit darker, and maybe there's a little bit of a shadow underneath the ball. The ball is not really going to put much shadow because it's clear, but I'm going to say because there's that solid bottom in there, light might not go all the way through. I'm so glad. Yay. Yeah, bringing everybody together, having an opportunity to have something to look forward to. I know a lot of us, this is like the thing we look forward to all day. And it's something I look forward to also. Just yeah, you can use this type of a technique, this sort of out of focus, abstract colors going on for trees, for, you know, the darker it is, the closer it is, the lighter it is, the farther away it is. You can do it for just about anything. But I do like that we've got that clear glass ball. We've got some of that blue going in. Maybe a wee bit darker right down next to the glass, or to the mug. A little bit darker. And I think I'm going to switch to my bigger brush. I do need a little bit darker right there under the handle. But I'm not going down here in the front yet. That's mostly the part that's way in the very back. Hey, 4'11", you're not that much shorter than me. I'm 5'2", so, you know. And one of my best friends in high school was 4'8". Oh, Lori Ann. Yeah, me too. One of my best friends was 4'8". So, and what I tell people go, wow, you're so short. And I look at them and I say, my feet touch the floor. What's the problem? You know, that's the thing is, and they look at my hands and they go, wow, you have such small hands. And I say, I can still feed myself. Food still gets to my mouth. So there we go. So yeah, my hands are very small. They don't look very small on the screen right now, do they? I am going to start working on the marshmallows. I think we've got enough. This little idea right here, this little thumbnail reference was more just to give me kind of a color palette to work from and some ideas. Like I said, I went down there and used maybe that tiny little bit in the right, the little tiny cross piece almost in the corner is sort of what I used. I could go and put some of the yellow lights, but I don't think I want to. I might put a little yellow light reflection onto the glass after we're done. I think that's what I want. All right, yeah, there we go. I see kind of a bit of the wood that's sort of blurred out into the window, and all I'm going to do is just run my slightly damp brush right next to it, soften that up, and if it turns into a little bit of a darkness on the glass, that's okay, because there would be some reflection of the wood on the glass. Maybe I'll even do that. I'll just sort of do a light reflection of the wood on the glass. See? If you do something in one place, it might look like a mistake. But if you do something in multiple areas the same way, it's intended to be that way, right? So I'm just putting a little tiny sort of a shadow of the wood reflecting onto the glass. Boom. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a tiny bit. I'm going to go in and start working on those marshmallows. And so I'm going to swap this for the marshmallow picture. And looking at the marshmallow picture, let's make that a little bit bigger so we can really see it for a second. We're going to look at those marshmallows for a second. If you look inside there, it has a lot of, it is a lot of brown, but there's kind of a glow in there also, some light. So I don't want to go too dark down deep. I'm going to just get this all wet with my slightly damp brush. And that glow that's in there is kind of orangey, but not, okay, now I need to make that smaller so you can see. So it's kind of orangey, kind of like this. Maybe a little bit of yellow added to it. I'm going to brighten it up just a smidge. And then we will zoom in on the actual marshmallows. My marshmallows are, put in with pen. So, and I did just get the whole thing wet. So I'm getting my shadows in there for my marshmallows. Look at that. Boom. Marshmallow shadows are done there. I think I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say there's some warm lights around here, I guess. But I want to leave the tops of the marshmallows white. See? And those are just very, very simple, very easy. Put a little bit of that brown tone in there. But it's not really brown. If you look at like on color charts and things like that, orange tends to get classed with the browns, and that's why you have the sepia browns and the sienna browns, and I mean a sienna brown is very very much on the grayed out orange color. Look at that, very close. I might even take some of that sienna in there, and on some of my darker, little bit darker, I'm just dotting in. But remember, I did get the whole thing wet, so these shadows can sort of blur and go across. I did not get down here wet, down below the marshmallows on the little tabletop thing. I'm not sure what color that table is, but the shadow underneath of them are getting kind of a sienna brown. So maybe under the cup we'll get that same color. And then along the back edge, I'm leaving white on the marshmallows for highlights. We could always go, oh, that just looks like an old-fashioned illustration right there, doesn't it? I'm going in and just putting a bit of this right around this bottom edge of the cup. I think I'm going to soften that up. I just got my brush wet. I dried it off mostly. It's ever so slightly damp. Look at that. It looks like an old-fashioned illustration out of a coloring or out of a kid's book or something. There we go. So there we are. All right, so now what I need to do, I'm going to dry that because I don't want the marshmallows getting chocolate up over them. I'm going to dry it real quick. But you can see the highlights in that reference picture in the blue cup, how the marshmallows stayed really light on the tops. There's actually more darkness in And I'm going to take a little bit of my gray blue with a little bit of that brown, and I'm going to put a tiny bit of that around on the front edges, maybe coming up on an end. Just little bits, not too much, not too worried about making it totally painted out, because if you paint it out completely, then you don't have your pretty white highlights showing up. I'm taking some of that darker gray blue, like right on the edge of where it joins up with the brown and maybe put some of that as a shadow down here. Little bit, not too much. When I'm talking like that, I'm talking to myself. I'm telling myself little bit, touch, and go away. Don't keep working it. Don't keep pushing on it. Put a little bit of color and then walk away from it. And you go, ooh, that's kind of cool. And then you can come back and say, ooh, well, maybe right back here in the very back, behind the cup, it really does need to be darker. So I'm just going to search for some darker color on here. A little bit of the brown, a little bit of the blue, and see if I can drop just a little bit of the darker color towards the back, behind the marshmallows, behind the edge of the cup. Let's see if we can. I'm not sure how close up I am. Well, that's pretty good. So like right here around the marshmallow, I'm not touching the marshmallow with that dark color. I'm just getting some randomly placed shadow bits. Not too worried. Some of it's going to be because of the reflections on the outside of the cup, and some of it's going to be because of what's inside. Now, I want to put kind of a warm brown down for my chocolate sauce, and then we will deepen it up. So I'm going to actually use a little bit of the sienna brown and a little bit of that kind of sepia or burnt umber type brown. There we go. The two of them together. So I mixed up some of the sienna or burnt umber type brown, or sepia brown. There we go. Sepia brown and sienna brown, and made a nice warm brown that I can start putting some chocolate sauce in with. There's going to be a little bit of some blue highlights on the chocolate. I will probably I'm going to try and leave some highlight. But you know, when you start layering up colors, sometimes it's hard to leave highlights. And that's what the white gouache is for. So we can get that gouache in there and so Catherine is saying, looks so tasty. The whole painting looks tasty. Or the cup of cocoa with the chocolate dripping down. I'm not really a fan of cups that have been dressed this way because it just makes a mess. But it looks so cool in a picture, and that's why it ends up like all over Instagram or all over Pinterest or all over Twitter or all over, everybody's blogs and things like that. I want to get this first layer of the chocolate on. I am going to make this cup is just going to be, I think it's going to be a white cup, maybe with should I put a thin little pin striping of some red so it goes with the candy cane? I like that. I like that idea. I'm going to take some of these colors and give me a little bit of some shadow and shape on here. My brush is really dry. I'm not using a soppy wet brush. I'm going to go in here. I'm putting a few shadows on the cup from where the chocolate is. I'm going to go in and put the little red pinstripes. But first I just wanted to get the cup. Oh yeah, just make sure that you've washed your hands before you started eating it so that you can lick your fingers. Right? Safety first. Safety first. But yeah, sometimes you have to embrace the messiness in life. That's how we learn, how we grow. I'm going to go ahead and use a kind of a magenta. This would be the C12 color chip on here. So we've got this very, actually I want a little bit of the orangey red in it too. So candy cane needs to be not quite so blue. Ooh, there we go. Magenta, and which is the C12, and then the C11, whatever color that is on here. I'd say it's kind of a scarlety red or something like that. You'll find that a lot of times people who were firstborn or the oldest tend to be the practicals. Ooh, look at that. I'm just right up on the very tippy toe of that brush, and I have those tiny little pinstripes go. Whoop, gets a little wiggly sometimes. It's okay. Tiny little pinstripes. If you look here, I am resting this pinky down on the paper so that, because it's dry, I'm using it as a, what is it, as a fulcrum, as a center point, as a pivot point. I'm not making those lines perfect. They're wiggly, they're wobbly, just like Jell-O. See them wiggle, watch them jiggle. Jell-O brand gelatin. Yeah, you can tell I'm of a certain age group. That was, let's see. I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to come from the bottom to the top now, I guess. Just barely touching a hair. And you notice I haven't even gone back and got any more paint, and I am not making a perfect solid line. It is, the line is breaking here and there. Maybe there's going to be a little stripe right across the bottom, which would be that, where everything came together. Right at the bottom. And then since I'm up here and I have the color in my brush, I'm going to go ahead and put some color in on those stripes. And I may not, look at that, I'm leaving a gap in my stripes so that I end up with a bit of a highlight on that candy cane, even in the red area. Okay, well, maybe oldest brothers aren't practical, but I grew up, and all of my friends that were the oldest, we were all, it was kind of a club of, we were the ones that were taking care of the siblings. We were the ones that had the key for after school, for coming in. Let's look at that from top down, because this is looking so pretty. Top down and zoom out. That little bit of striping on the cup. Oh, that's pretty. I might go ahead and put just a little stripe, or maybe the handle. Ooh, maybe the handle is going to be mostly red. At least the outside edge of the handle is going to be red. Maybe that's how they did it. I don't know. I'm going to grab just a little bit of the sepia kind of color with my red and make that a little darker right next to where it joins up. I know I could grab a green. I'm just grabbing a little bit of a brown so that it doesn't go too much of a different color. And then let's get back to the zoomed in. Well, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, you know. Birth order sometimes makes sense for things, the way people act and react to things, and birth order sometimes doesn't make any sense at all. So, always take it with a grain of salt. Never say that I'm never saying that you're not practical even if you're not the oldest. And I'm never saying that every oldest kid is practical or has that level of responsibility built in just because of the birth order. But in my circle, when I was growing up, those of us that were the oldest kids tended to be the ones that had the responsibility for the others. But that was back in the day, you know. I'm using some of that slightly darker red right down here at the bottom, kind of thickening up a little bit of those stripes and also making them a little bit darker. Here we go. Just a touch, not too much. We're going to go back in, finish that chocolate up, and put the highlights on the ball. So if you like what you see, guys, make sure that you are clicking that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends. If you are interested in where I've got all of the artwork for this, we have a digital download book that is available on Teespring. It has all 31 cute and creative hand-drawn winter ornaments. Whoop, there was the cup. So, do our little where we started and where we are. So, in the book, it's a very basic looking design. It leaves you room to be able to make it look like what you want it to look like. It can have a totally different background than what I did, right? But I made a background to go with it, and now it looks like something that's a much more involved painting or involved picture. It leaves you scope. It leaves you room to make your own decisions and to grow your own designs and ideas. This one that looks super, super simple ended up being one of my most detailed paintings in the whole series. So, downloadable on Teespring. The link is in the chat. It's down below in the more information. And I promise I will get the link put up on the iCard. And if you don't have an ability to print things out, let's see, we don't really need that one there anymore. A couple marshmallows can go away. I do have it available as a printed soft color book available from Amazon, and that link is down below in the more information. So there. Sales have been really good, and I love that you guys have decided that buying the downloadable is preferable. And truthfully, the downloadables, digital downloads, because you get something. I actually earn more off of a $5 digital download than I do off of a $5 super chat. YouTube takes more money than Teespring does. So it's pretty cool. And then you guys also get something. And I like the idea that you guys are getting something even more than just, you know, hanging out and having fun at the video. I'm going to go and work on that chocolate now. So we need to get that chocolate more chocolatey. So I do not know what this color is. That's another kind of sienna brown. I am going to add a bit of maybe that sepia to it. I'm going to try That's still too orangey. I want it to be a darker, more chocolatey color. So I'm probably going to add some blue to it. Oh, look at that. We're starting to get a little chocolatier. Chocolatier? Ooh, that's a good word. Maybe a touch more of the blue. If you go with too much blue, you will end up with your chocolate going very gray, kind of like what just happened there. So then I'm picking up another of those browns and kind of working them back in. Maybe a touch of some, some burgundy type color. That deep burgundy color into the chocolate. See, I'm just working this in, working it in. And I'm going to start I'm just barely touching again. I'm covering over some of the white. I'm covering over some of that light brown, but I'm leaving some of the light brown for highlights. I'm leaving some of the white for highlights. And I might even go in and grab, I have a picture. Let's see here. I need to go back out of airplane mode on my iPad and then scroll. See if I've got my, come on, back online. I'm trying to find, I have a cup that actually has, come on, cocoa. I have a cup that showed some chocolate dripping down the side, and there it is, and it has the red pinstripes. Look how dark that chocolate is, and there's very few highlights actually. Ooh, okay. You know what? I can make it much darker. So I am going to pick up more of that sepia brown. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of black into it, I think, because this black is really, really wimpy. And then maybe I'll pick up some ultramarine type blue and put it, whoops, ultramarine blue went a little bit too green. What brush is this? This is the number 12 round Mimic. It is a synthetic swirl brush. It holds a lot of water. It goes to a very nice point. I've been using this daily for months and months. The link is in the Amazon link for my Amazon store, and it is part of the Try It pack. So you get 5 brushes. There's a flat wash. There's like 3 or 4 different rounds. So nice. Let's see. Oh, let's try that color. Let's try that. Oh, yep, that's darker, going over the top of that dark brown. Much more chocolatey. I like it. I think I'm just going to use I will. I will just use my gouache as for the highlights. And I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry about it. I think I just want to get this all kind of colored in. That's another thing with these. You can use them just as plain coloring pages. You can, when you did the downloadable, you then have the ability to print it out as many times as you want, which is really cool. I'm just dotting in. Let's go ahead and put it on that side view camera again, I think. See how it's getting nice and chocolatey? Just starting to dot that in. If you, then you can do color, you can do different colorways, do color tests, have fun. Many printers now, you can print on heavier paper. I can actually print on watercolor paper. My recommendation is if you are printing on watercolor paper, You probably have a printer that has a feed slot in the back, like where you would feed envelopes from, or a feed tray that you would put envelopes. Do your heavier paper in that tray and turn your printer to draft mode so that it doesn't put as much ink onto the paper. Many inkjet printers will not, the inks are not waterproof. When you print on watercolor paper, they will bleed and run. So you want it to basically print as little ink on the paper and still let you see what you're painting, see the design. Does that help? I hope that helps. I hope that helps. It helped me when I realized that I could print in draft mode on watercolor paper on my inkjet printer. It was like so cool. All right, I am going to get some more of that dark chocolate being made. So I need some of the sepia brown and whatever this brown was. Very orangey brown, a little bit of that burgundy color. So I'm talking all about this and I'm not showing it to you. Let me put that back. There we go. So some of that sepia brown, the burgundy type color, the Prussian blue, well, that makes a nice chocolatey. See, I'm getting a darker, dotting it on, allowing some of these highlights and shadows to just sort of intermingle. This is inside of a glass ball. The light is going to be coming from all over the place anyway. Nobody's got their fingers stuck in the chocolate yet. They didn't pour it down the handle, which is nice. All right, I actually see that I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and use that on the cup as a bit of a shadow, right up next to the chocolate, right over the red. See, we just work it in however. Ooh, that's looking really good. And remember what I said several shows ago? I said you need to make sure that you're telling yourself when something looks good. And that's looking good. It's going to look even better when I get some highlights on it. But I can see the chocolate is starting to get kind of a shape. It doesn't feel totally flat. When you start getting the dark in there and the light in there, you start getting that opportunity for it to have. Oh yeah, see, that's making me really happy. I hope it's making you happy too. But tell yourself, when you're doing something good and you like it, don't look at the 4 things that you go, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Oh, that would look so terrible. Oh my gosh, why did I do that? Look at the things that are making you happy. Like, ooh, I really like how that little spot right there kind of lifted out just a bit and gave me more of a chocolatey highlight without having to add any white to it. I like that. Or, wow, I like how this really dark color goes in and gives me this beautiful little shadow. And wow, when you put that shadow in there, then it starts to look like there's highlights even before we've put the other colors on, even before we put the white in, to give us those glowy highlights. Ooh, I like how that chocolate brown that went onto the cup right there, I'm able to make it into a shadow. Maybe I'll take a little bit of that down here onto the table or down to the bottom of the cup and give it more of a shadow down here. Maybe inside that handle, I'm going to take a little bit of chocolate. But it's just the shadow. It's not actually the chocolate. It's a reflection of some chocolate inside the handle. Whoa. Okay, so see? Give yourself that positive talk. Positive talk. Don't be filling your head with that, down talking nonsense, because you're going to be so much happier with the finished product if you have happy memories while you're doing it. And humans are very auditory. We pay more attention to something that's said to us than something that is written more often. And a voice that we hear a lot, if it says that we're doing good, even if it's your own voice, a voice that says positive things that you hear in your head from your ears actually makes more of an impact. My brush is not clean yet. I am going to pick up a touch of the white. It's going to get a little bit of brown in it. And I am going to look at this right here on the edge. There's a bit of a highlight. Maybe coming around here, there's a bit of a highlight where it's hitting the edge of the cup. Maybe a drop, just teeny tiny touch of water. I'm trying to keep the gouache controlled. I don't want it to be dry brushed on though, so I do want it to flow off the brush ever so slightly. So just a tiny touch of water, get it to flow a little bit. I'm kind of looking at my highlights and such that I created. Look at that. You can put highlights on, sort of following the shape of the chocolate on the cup. Little touch of water, little touch of gouache. And it can sparkle. It can be like ever so just right up on the tippy hair, just tiny little bits here and there. Reflections are something, the highlights are something that you can go a little overboard with, and I'm saying that for myself as well as for you. I see a little bit that I want right there, and maybe right here. Isn't it great? Yeah, I love the highlights. They make such a huge difference. Now, I am taking just the wet brush. Nothing is on the brush except for a tiny touch of water, and I am touching and then wiping it off. And what that's doing, it's kind of glossing up those highlights a little bit, softening them out, diffusing them. I don't want to do it to all of them, but I see a few that ended up being kind of harsh. And this chocolate is not a mirror. It is soft and warm, and there's marshmallows. There's marshmallows with that chocolate. I think that's looking really good. Let's zoom out again. See how those highlights just pop it up? I didn't even have to put any highlights back on the peppermint because I left the space for it. we're going to come in here with some of those blue highlights or blue shadow type color for the glass ball. I'm picking up a little bit of that brown tone that's right there. I'm going to go in right under the edge of the ball cap, right here at the top, giving it a little bit of some darkness. I'm going to say this glass has a bit of thickness to it. I drew it with it, so I'm going to use it. You notice I'm not worried about making it a perfect line. I am just getting some thickness there. I'm going to do my little bravery test. Can I do it? Yes. See how now that blue in the background has become like the glossy shine on the front. Who'd have thought that, huh? I'm going to put a little bit more dark shadow, kind of abstracting in. Making my shadows, my highlights form around the ball. That's what you want. And now I can go rinse my brush. Thank you guys so much. I'm getting some of that white. It may not be perfectly clean. My brush might not have been perfectly clean. I'm going to put a couple little dots of highlight right here. I'm going to sort of swing down. See, and now by putting that little bit of highlight, even though it's a tiny little passage of highlight right there, now it made that stripe that we put on first go around to the back of the ball. Do you see that? We go here, and now those stripes that we put on that looked like they were in front, now they've been pushed to the back. That's how the reflections on glass can make just a huge difference. And you can put as much sparkle on as you want. Maybe I'll put a little bit more sparkle right up there. Maybe there's a touch of sparkle along that edge. Just maybe there's some random lights that are making it have like little sparkle spots. Oh, that is so pretty. I really, really am happy with that. I did not put my cap back on my pen, so I needed to roll it off on a piece of paper to the side. I need to sign it. We are going to make sure it's dry, take the tape off. Ow, fiddle! Okay, I can now say that I am a true artist. I just washed my brush out in my cup of tea. So, are the stripes on the candy cane red or brown? They are the same red that I made the stripes on the cup. And they are, let's zoom in so you can see it up more closely. They look shadowy because I put the blue over the top. But here you can see right in there, that really bright red. It was a mixture of the magenta and kind of a scarlet was my mixture to make my candy cane red. And I used that for the cup. And then on the shadows of the cup, I added a little bit of sienna brown to my red. Very, very subtle, and mostly you see it over here in the handle. So I hope that helps. I am going to zoom this back out. Yeah, new water in my drinking cup. That's right. I'm going to have to... My tea was cold anyway, so I guess that's okay. You know, it is what it is. I am going to pull the tape off now. I think that it's dry enough to do that. And here we go. We have 2 more paintings to do. I have a beautiful little village with a night sky, and I think it's going to be kind of a galaxy night sky. So we will do galaxy night sky with a little gingerbread village, and then we will also have our celebration glass, our celebration cups, cup and bottle. So we're going to do a galaxy night sky in this one. And I'm saying this is kind of like a little gingerbread village, or I might make it mostly a silhouette village with little golden lights in the windows. We'll see. And then we have our celebration, and this is a single serve bottle because, you know, we're in that mini me type of celebration this year. You don't get to celebrate with a ton of people, so celebrate responsibly. And this is what we will be doing. I think I will be doing this one at noon tomorrow, and then this one at 6 p.m. tomorrow. That's all Pacific time on the 30th. So that way I just have the big live stream marathon on the 31st. I hope that this makes you happy, that you will do something creative. Leave me a comment, share on your social media, share on my social media, tag me at Deliberately Creative. Check out the other videos. I will have the playlist listed right up here. And I'm going to go and do that right now. So thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. Remember, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. I want to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.